Hi, in this video, I would like to talk about how I would go about improving that fixtures page that we have been discussing in the email. Now, this is quite a lengthy video because I'm trying to go through it very slowly and very logically. And to illustrate, this is the problem that we want to address. We find that the August and September months is created within a table but contained within the original table on top. So you have a table within a table. And then you can also see the cells and the lines in the legend part of the table, which could be cleaned up a little bit, which I will address too. And then the last two tables for the indoor fixtures are also contained tables within the original top table. Going into the editor mode to try and fix it up on the web itself, for me, failed miserably. I struggled to get that to be done. But also there you can see that table of August with the narrow margins on the left and on the right. You can see that it's a table contained within the other table. You can also go into the source code and then look at the source code and try and manipulate it through the source code. But that would mean that you would need to understand HTML, which is what is used to create web pages. But here you can see that we are in the middle, almost down to the end. You can see there's a table, another table that's created within the table source that is above this. If you go to the end of the document, you can see where the inner table, which is the August, September, and the legend, is ended, as well as those two indoor tables are ended there, and the original table on the top is ended there. So clearly showing that we have two tables, one within the other. I did offline try to fix it with the editor, but I failed miserably, so I had to find another way. And in the end, I realized that the only way to do this properly is to sort the problem out inside of the Word document itself. So I'm just opening the Word document that you sent me to look at the formatting that has taken place inside this document. And going to the August, as you can see there, can you see the narrow margin on the left and the narrow margin on the right hand? That shows where the one table is contained, or those three tables actually is contained within the one original table. If you click inside a table, anywhere inside the table, and you click on the little cross that appears, that will select the table, and you can see here that that table is selected. That is one table, this is another, and then this is another. So you have three tables that are contained within the original table. If I click on the original table and I click on select there, you will see that it even selects the inner tables as well, August and September, as well as the tables below it. So the idea is to try and remove those inner tables and create them outside or part of the original table. If I click on that little button, it gives me some indication of all the elements that is contained within this document, and those little dots show me that there are empty lines inside this document that are unnecessary, so could be removed. So I'm going to start to clean up some of this first before I do the important stuff, and that is to remove the inner tables and recreate them. You can also see between August and July, there are also some empty spaces which could be removed, and we'll get to that soon enough. I can understand why it is in here, because for this document, August needed to be started on a new page, and the way it was done in this document is to add a few empty lines below July to create that in. But on the web, this is not important at all, so I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to try and fix the rest of the document now as well. Now I'm just switching off that button to take all the noise away from the document so that I can concentrate only on what is important. Now, to be able to fix this problem, I'm going to have to create space in the top table, or in the top level table, the original table, to be able to copy the data into. So what I'm doing now is I'm just inserting some additional rows below to create that space. Now, if you pick 4 rows and you insert below, then you will insert 4 rows at a time, which is much quicker than to do it one at a time. As you can see here, I've already got 8. Now I've got 12 rows. And the idea is to create more rows than you would really need. Otherwise, the copying will not work properly. So now I'm adding another 12. So I've got 24 rows now. And now I'm just going to add another bunch of rows, another 24. So I've got 48 rows in total, or thereabouts. And that would be enough for me to be able to work with more than enough space to copy August, September, and everything else into. And of course, the rows that I'm not going to use, I can delete them again. But when you copy a row over, then the formatting of that row need to be the same as the row that you copy from. And in this case, I need to create rows that consists of only one cell, not 7 cells, because it won't work properly if you try and copy it. Now, what I've just created is that narrow row that you can see above the line July, and I need a second one for also the month of August. So I'm going to merge the cells in this row as well. So I've only one cell in that row. The rest must remain the same, because to copy the games over, I have to have 7 columns. So now let's start with copying over August. Click in the cell where I want it. I then go to paste, hover over that middle button to overwrite the cells. Now when you hover, it just shows you a preview of what will happen when you click. It actually pastes it into that cell. Then next, what I need to do is scroll down, find the rest of that table for August. Now you will notice that I don't go over September, because September needs to be reformatted as one cell again. So I'm just taking all the games for August, click on the first cell where I want to start to copy it over, and go over to paste, hover over that just to see a preview of what's going to happen. That looks good. So I'll just click and paste it in there. Now I need to prepare the space for September. And what I need to do is I need to create, well, firstly, let's just get rid of everything that we've done. I just want to get rid of August because it just takes up space and could be confusing. Now all I do is I select all the information in those rows and I simply delete them. Now I highlight the rows that I want to delete. I click with the right mouse button, pick delete rows, and the rows are deleted. Now I need to create the 2 lines. The one is to create a little bit of a space between the month of August and the month of September. Merge those 2 lines, and then merge also the line for the heading September. And now in the same fashion, I'll just copy over everything for September. Instead of copying, I can also cut it. So you can do two jobs in one by cutting it. When you cut information, it puts it on the clipboard automatically, meaning that I now do the copying and the cleaning up, which I normally would do afterwards, I do in one go. So I select that, click cut, throws it away, go to the first cell where I want to copy this in or paste this into, and paste. Now I have successfully moved September and August into the original table. I still have to do the legend that has been used here, so we'll do that next, and we'll use the same method of doing the legends as well. And now you will see that I need to create 8 spaces because there's a space between the legends as well, so I'm just creating 8, formatting 8 lines to be used for the legend. And it's also possible to just select one of the merged cell lines and copy them rather than having to merge them. So you can do one and then you can copy that in there until you've got the 8 lines that you need. Just a bit of cleaning up now, and then I'll proceed to copy over the legend. And now I'm just removing the rest of this table and trying to find the option to be able to remove the rows, which seems to be hiding at the moment. And just maybe I should just delete the remains of that table. Now what I'm left to do is to take these two tables and move them outside of the document. I'm not going to put them as part of the original table. I'll just keep them two separate tables because their sizes differs to the original table. So I'm just going to remove this redundant lines that I don't need anymore. Now what I need to do is to remove this table. So I will just select that table. I will copy it and paste it outside of the original table in its own little table. And I'll do the same with the second one. And now I can remove the tables inside that I don't need. And I can clean up the original top table by removing the unnecessary rows that are remaining. Next thing I need to do is I need to just change these newly formed rows that are wider than the older ones. I need to change it to the same formatting as that of the original little rows. That's between July and August and September. Of course, this formatting that I'm doing here on this document will originally or will eventually not be copied over to the website. So some of this formatting will have to be redone on the website. And here you can see that the text inside of this table is not the same as the text inside of the table below it or even above it. So I'm just going to reformat that text quickly to the correct size. and then fix up some other formatting issues that I detected inside the document. Those should have been centered. I'll scroll through it slowly and have a good look and see if I detect any more. The word pairs seems to be, it is not centered, it's left. It is somebody tried to center it with spaces, so I'll correct that. The font there, or the size of the font there, is smaller than the rest, but I can understand that. So it fits in all in one line. That doesn't make any difference because when we copy this over to the website, that formatting is not transferred to the website. What I'm doing now is to save this document as a new document. I don't want to overwrite the original document, so I'll just save it as a new document. That's the original document, so I'm just going to save this as something new, call it revised. All that tells me is that it'll save it as a newer format. Right, so what we have here now is the new document, which we now need to insert into the website. So just scrolling through it slowly so we can have a look and see if everything looks okay. Everything looks fine, so we'll copy that over. First, I'm going to go to the practice articles page and I'm going to create a new document in there. I'm not going to overwrite anything just yet. I just want to create a new test document to see how it looks, how it works out. I need to give it a unique title. Now I need to select all the data of the whole document and then copy it over to the website. Click on copy and I will paste this as paste from Word because it seems that there are special ways to do this for Word documents. Now immediately my eye just caught some formatting issues, so I'm just going to fix that quickly. So let us scroll down and have a look and see what this document is like. Well, it looks fair enough, but as you can see, there are still some formatting to be done here. So there, for instance, I've got a row to delete. Looking at it again, and you can see that there's a bit of a difference between the two bottom tables, which will have to be addressed, and trying to fix that, but I just couldn't get it fixed. So eventually I just selected the table and then used that button to remove the formatting, and that seemed to have done the trick. So it now looks more or less the same as the table above it, the text at least. And as you can see, there is now a lot of formatting to be done here, which is not very easy. It's difficult. I'm trying to line up these columns, but as you can see, I struggle to be able to grab the line and to move it. It is not easy. So now I'm just saving the document so that I don't mess up anything and lose all the work I've done. Now I can go back into the document, have a look at it, see what it looks like. And it looks fair enough. As I said, still lots of formatting that needs to be done now on the web that could not have been copied over. For instance, the coloring that is used in the original document, and then also the lining up of some of those columns. And it is maybe a better idea to put everything into one table. That would have made it much easier to make sure that bottom tables look the same. What I'm doing now is just to remove some rows which I think is not necessary. unless you need to create the space between all those months. But in my opinion, I don't think it is quite necessary. And I'm still trying to manually fix these columns so they look alike more or less. And as you can see, it is not easy. So it would have been a better idea to put the last two tables into one table. Also, the background or the default for the text in a document here is some sort of dark blue and not really black. So need to take care of that as well. So all I'm doing now is I'm adding some color coding that you used in the original document. But if you look at the coloring of mixed games and Buck's plate, you will see that the two colors are fairly close, because mixed games, the word mixed games is now put in the default color, which is a very dark blue rather than black. So I'm just going to change that to black so that you can see the difference. Now it also means that all the text inside the table will have to be changed from that dark blue color to pitch black. And now the coloring for all the games can be done properly. And what I'm doing now is to change the width of the table to 100%. That makes it better to view on tablets and on mobile phones. You could do this with all your tables that you use anywhere on the website. It's always a good idea. More and more people are using mobiles, devices like tablets and smartphones to view these things. And what I'm trying to do now is to change the width of these columns so that I can maximize the width, the second column. And it is not easy to do. To grab those lines and to move them is not an easy thing to do at all. And sometimes it just doesn't want to do it the way that I want it to be done. But I will persist. And widening the second column, of course, helps to prevent the text from wrapping around. And also the bottom tables, I will change that to a percentage mode. It doesn't have to be 100%, can be 100%, but I'm just changing that to 60% to see what happens. Well, that looks a little bit small, and even changing it, yeah, is a bit of a mess. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the table properties to 80%. Should be better, I think. And yes, it certainly does look a bit better. So I'll do that with the bottom table as well. And now you can see that the bottom tables are the same width, although the insides of it doesn't line up properly. So I'll have to work on that a little bit. And looking at the difficulty I'm having to get this to line up properly, these two tables could really have been put into one table, and that would have prevented us having to try and make them look the same. So now I'll just save the document again, the article again, and have a look. Bearing in mind that I know that the inside of the article, some of those games will have to be colorized, which I'm not doing because that'll be making this video way longer than it needs to be. It's already way longer than it needs to be. So I hope that what I've shown you here shed some light on how we can make this thing better. But maybe the effort in doing this is not really worth doing this for the little benefit that we could see here. But for the future, I think before putting stuff on the website, try and do all the work on the document first, so that the document is in a state that when it's copied over, then you've got far less work to do, formatting work to do on the website. Thank you for watching the video. I hope the information is useful to you.